Today is 18th of December and it's at 4 p.m. Please call the order.
Chairperson Juani Garza.
Here.
Vice Chair Ted Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman John Lash.
Here.
Alderman Emmanuel Llamas.
Here.
Alderman Brandon Tolliver.
Here.
Okay, first I want a special vote for allow remote participation. Alderman Lamas requests permission to participate in the meeting remotely for Section 280 due to the medical or emergency circumstances behind his control that make it impossible to attend a meeting in person. Is there a motion to authorize Alderman Lamas to participate remotely?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Lash.
Second.
Second, Alderman Ted Masiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed 5-0 or 4-0. Okay. Approval of the minutes, 23-1023, and the minutes we make on December 11, 2023.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman
Second.
Lash, second Alderman Ted Masiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed 5-0. We have comments for public.
No, Chairwoman, no one standing.
No, okay. Can you please read the first item in the agenda, Cynthia?
Item 23-0991, a resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the 2024 citywide sanitary sewer CIPP lining project to Construction, Inc. in the bid amount of $1,148,478.00.
Good afternoon, Kurt Muth with the Engineering Division. So I was in front of you about a month ago to request approval for the annual televising contract. We televise the sewers ahead of the overlay, and after we receiving those videos from the televising, we look for deficiencies in the pipes, such as cracks or small holes. If it's a major issue that's about to collapse, we'll have that dug up and repaired. We try and prevent those, and the way we address those repairs that are not imminent for failure, we bid out a process called cured in place pipelining, and that's what this contract is for. We identified a bunch of locations that need to be lined. A few of them are just spot liners that are real short, but anytime we get more than one of those, or there's a long crack in the pipe, then that would necessitate lining the entire run of pipe, which the majority of these are. So we went out to bid, and we got 6 bids. The low bidder, Air Construction, has done 2 similar type projects for us, so we're confident they could get this done. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? So you say it's at different locations when they need to repair, right?
Yeah, this is all
So
spread
all
throughout
these
town.
repairs want to be for 24, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so can you tell us a little bit about the areas or no? You have an idea?
I did not include the maps with this. We typically televise over 100,000 feet of pipe, and then I'd say this probably takes care of about 15% of those pipes are then identified needing to be lined and have a new hose pipe. So that's it's pretty much spread throughout town. It's mostly the older sections because most of these pipes are clay,
Okay,
and then most of the pipes constructed within the last 30 years are PVC. So I'd say it's in the parts of town that are over 30 or 40 years old primarily.
okay. So when they start working on it, so they want to let us know the residents in the area, is they working on it and all that?
So typically these are, they'll spend a day cleaning the pipe and then they'll come back several weeks later and then spend a day lining the pipe. So it's pretty quick. A lot of times they don't even know they're there. The one caveat is this can produce some smells. And so they will typically hand out flyers notifying the residents. Sometimes they'll ask them to limit their use of the water during a certain time period of the day because it'll be blocked off as it's being lined until they go back in the pipe and recut the openings for the services. So that they'll hand out flyers when they do the work.
Great. Questions, comments?
Just a quick one. Thank you, Madam Chair. And then the sizes, there's various sizes in there. Those are accurate, not an estimate? Because you did go in and televise them already, so I'm assuming that where there's a 36-inch.
Correct. Sometimes they'll be misidentified because we have 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch, and it'll be an inch off. So sometimes when they go in and confirm and measure it, they'll find they go in and actually physically measure it before they cut the liner to size. And when they're televising it, they're sending down a camera. So they're not manually entering the manhole to measure it. So this will be more precise. So it may change a little bit here and there between the bid items, but it's not drastic usually.
Okay, so it's probably not going to change the cost too much.
No, and we do have a contingency in there to address any slight changes.
And then after this is done, what percent of the city's televised, and or how often? When will we need to do this again next?
Well, right now we televise in advance of the overlay, and if the overlay is addressing all the streets every 20-ish years, we're roughly in that same timeline. So we are kind of on that same cycle for televising, I would say.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Madam Chairwoman, if I may.
Yes?
Mr. Muth, hopefully just a quick question with a quick answer. Can you just briefly give us an idea of what we do to help with traffic, if any, in regards to morning hours specifically, when high traffic times? What do we do? What's our process, or your departmental process?
This particular contract is minimally invasive to traffic. They have a truck that parks next to the manhole at each end, and
Do we have someone there who oversees it? Do we have a consultant or someone from staff that's there at the same time, or no?
for this contract, we're usually not on site full time. We stop out periodically throughout the day and check on them. It's a slower process. Once they insert the liner, it takes a few hours to cure, and then it takes several hours to go in and robotically cut out the sanitary services.
So then, do we have a written document that we provide this contractor in regards to what to keep in mind when they're doing work around busy hours of the day, traffic hours?
It's definitely a discussion we have at the pre-construction meeting so that they're prepared. A lot of these are on residential roads, and the manholes are in the center of the intersections, so they're able to park next to the manhole and traffic's able to drive around their truck.
Because the biggest concern I have is them working around a very busy street around times schools are trying to get open, and parents trying to take their kids to school, and someone's waiting a solid 10 minutes and traffic's backed up in every direction because that intersection is just clogged up with heavy machinery.
This particular contract, I don't foresee issues like that, but yes, as we do other activities like patching where we have to close portions of the roadway and sometimes utilize flaggers just to try and keep traffic moving, that's a discussion that we try and have ahead of time, but sometimes it just doesn't work out well. So after that, we become a little bit more reactive, but we try and proactively get ahead of those issues.
So we don't have anything besides those meetings that you talk about with them and how to prepare and what to keep an eye out for?
Day to day, we
And we're
talk.
just reactive if they get aggressive?
Day to day, we talk about what activities are coming up the next day, and if there's something that we're going to have partial closures of the roadway, then yeah, that's a conversation we'd have to try and limit the impact to
Okay.
public.
And the reason I bring it up, I want the committee to know, is something I experienced recently myself, and I know I called the director and talked to him about it, but literally just 10 minutes and watching traffic back up in every direction, and everybody's trying to get their kids to school, let alone maybe some of them are trying to get to work. And that affects kids when they go to school as well, even though they have odd hours of school, and that's a hit or miss too, right? Because school district has late starts too, right? So depending on the day. So I think it's very important. There might be a contractor might see that one morning, oh, there's no traffic here, around 7:30. Come back the next day and is backed up because it's not the same start time at the district. So what I'm trying to get at is maybe, having that kind of a conversation as well with them and whatnot, especially when they're working around schools.
Yeah, we'll be sure to discuss that over the winter and make sure we prioritize that next year.
It's getting more complicated, it seems like, to do construction, but, but the smoother it is for our residents, I think the better it works out for our kids too, and so on and so forth. So thank you very much. I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion
Second.
approved by Ted Misiacos. Alderman John Lesh make a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Next item.
Item 23-0994, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with Donegal Services LLC, 13011 Grant Road, Lamont, Illinois, 60439, in the amount of $56,050 for building demolition at 14 South LaSalle Street.
Good afternoon, Ian Wade, Engineering Division. This one's pretty straightforward, as was laid out in the memo. The city recently purchased the parking lot located at the southeast corner of Galena and LaSalle Street. As part of the renovation of this lot to provide additional public parking for the downtown area, the city is looking to demolish a single-story building which was already owned by the city. That is basically on this lot, sits on the edge of this lot, was used to access, the lot was part of what was used to access the building. We put it out to bid. We received 12 bids, which was excellent. And there was a little bit of spread between the bids, but we had a handful that were down in that low area, and the low bid was certainly a little bit lower than we had thought it might be. So we're quite pleased with these results, and I guess I'll answer any questions.
Question, comments? Yes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just quickly, why are we removing the steel fencing? Is it in poor condition? It looks pretty reasonable. Our intended use for this afterwards is a parking lot, correct?
Yes, and it's only the gate that we're removing as part of this. The fence itself is actually going to stay in place, and the gate itself, which goes on that middle island, which is being removed, was not operable. So we're just getting rid of the gate and kind of redoing the entrance, but 90% of the fence itself will still be there.
Okay, and then it is just going to be used as a parking lot. Do we know how many spaces we're going to get out of it?
Has anything been conducted in that regard?
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer, Department of Public Works. We're looking at that now. The first thing we want to do is, with weather being what it is, we want to get the building down. We're going to do a little bit more detailed survey and see how much of the building footprint we can reclaim and how to organize the lot so it's more efficient. We think we can pick up a lot compared to what's there. But until we get the building out of the way and see what we're left with and reconfigure the lot. But yeah, we anticipate it's going to be larger. That's why I want to get the building down so that we can start moving to get out in the spring to bid the paving work.
And then there'll probably be a second round of costs to repave it and all that, right?
Yep, that's that whole second project. Yeah, this is in the budget for $275,000, and this first piece, again, as Ian stated, came in under what we were hoping it would. So everything is looking good for the next phase two.
Thank you.
How old is this building? How old was?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How old?
Oh, the building? Oh my gosh, just looking at it, I would say it's probably been there since the 60s, 70s, based on what it's made out of.
So my concern is they don't have no asbestos, no?
We actually already took care of all the remediation. There was no asbestos. There was some material in the roofing, and that's already been abated, and we got rid of that, so we're good to go. We did that. That was it was a very small contract, and we got that done before the demo, so that the demo contractor didn't have to worry about that.
Because we wonder it's safe.
Exactly, yep,
Okay.
for sure.
All right.
So it looks like we're going to get rid of.
Question, Chairwoman.
Yes?
Sorry, Alderman, I didn't
yes.
hear you. I kind of have a delay here. So this, I'm looking here at the map. This is located next to Miss Lee's, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Is there, I guess some of the complaints that we've heard recently about projects in the downtown are that the city projects are, I guess, affecting local businesses in that residents and patrons are not able to either, find parking or have direct access to the restaurant or whatever it may be. So in the case of Miss Lee's, is this project going to prevent any of their patrons from being able to go to Miss Lee's like they normally would?
This phase of the project, likely not. If they're parking in that lot in the future, it's only going to be because we're turning it into a public lot. Right now, there is no public access, so that's part of the reason for this project, is we're trying to find more spots that we have under our direct control where we can implement new parking. So right now, we just acquired this. It was private. It was heavily underutilized. And if anyone from Miss Lee's was parking there or anybody else up and down Galena, they shouldn't have been. So by the time we're done with that, we're actually going to be introducing new parking for not just that restaurant, but anybody else within walking distance, because it'll be a public lot now.
Okay, thank you. Miss Lee to me is one of our hidden gems here in Aurora. I just want to make sure that Miss Lee is aware of this project so she can plan accordingly, but then also kind of give her some good news and that there's going to be additional parking there in the corner.
Yeah, great.
So,
Yeah, and we'll
thank
make
you for
sure that we
for your
put
work
her
on
in.
this.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm all done.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, we'll make sure that she's put in touch with Ian and whoever else we have on staff, so if anything does pop up, she can get a hold of us.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Or if that's not even the person who owns it anymore, I'm not sure. But whoever does own Miss Lee's.
I know she was trying to sell it before. I don't know if she's still the owner.
Okay. No more questions, no comments?
I think this is a step in the right direction, and I'd like to piggyback on a thought of Alderman Yamas. Miss Lee going to have ability, we're going to have an issue if she provides access from the parking lot to the back of her business?
Well, as Jason mentioned, it should really be limited to the footprint of the building during this project. There'll be the removal of the center island.
Down the road, I'm trying to say, down the road. I mean, is it something that legal needs to chime in on?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there would be, we have plenty of parking throughout the entire downtown with doors from properties that are adjacent that open right onto it. Lot E is a prime example. All the businesses up and down Broadway, their back doors open right up onto Lot E. And we certainly want to encourage, I mean, that's why we're doing these projects, is to encourage the use of them for the restaurants and the businesses.
Because one of those walls is right there.
It is, yeah, and.
That's with her, right?
Yep, yeah, so the current demolition takes into account the shared wall, and if, there's a better configuration for that parcel with access to the rear in the new configuration of the lot, I mean, certainly we would be open to that. I don't see any
But we're
reason.
taking down that shared wall.
Portions of it. There's a portion of it that is actually used that's holding back material on their side, so all of that section of the retaining wall needs to stay. So I would say maybe it's like the 30 feet to the west of there that comes down. So there's.
Are we responsible for shoring it up?
Everything that's required from a retaining wall standpoint is staying in place. So there's no shoring required. We worked with Fair Graham. They did all the structural drawings to make sure that everything that needed to stay from anything that's retaining any earth is staying in place.
Because I think what Alderman Yam was trying to say too, and I would be in agreement with, is making sure that her property stays intact, and if any damage occurs, we're going to help take care of it.
Oh, definitely.
In an expedient manner.
For sure.
And that'll actually be the location of the fence that if you looked at the bid, there's a document for some safety fencing that's going to go up along the portion of the wall that remains. And you can actually see in the plans that I attached on some of the pictures on the second or third page, they actually drew on a picture that they took of the wall, they actually kind of sketched in where it'll remain.
Right. Well, and it's good. You need a plan, and that's key. But besides the plan, I'd like to think that you have a plan B, because I think we had some issues when we tore down the Masonic Lodge. My was the same question back then. We're going to do have a plan B to help out, make sure and protect. We have that the residents to the east of the Masonic Lodge, across the alley. And the question was yes. Unfortunately, things happen with the contractor, and I think a little damage was added there to their back porch. So we took care of it, I believe, and we helped out, making sure that, like Alderman Yama said, we have that conversation.
Yeah, and I think our plan B would certainly include any necessary repairs to the remaining portions of the wall that may present themselves as a result of the demo.
Right, okay. So you're conscious of it. That's
Absolutely.
fantastic. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman John Lesh,
Second.
second Alderman Telmesiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion
Aye.
carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 23-1013, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a turf maintenance sprayer from Rangers, Inc. through Sourcewell for $109,819.86.
Good afternoon, Gio Santana, Phillips Park. The item before you is pretty standard, similar to the items that we were requesting a few weeks ago. We're looking for authority now. This is a 2024 decision package, but we're looking for authority now so that we can secure our place in line. The turf sprayer, our current sprayer is over 20 years old, so a lot of changes in technology since then. One of the biggest things with the new sprayer technology is the ability to GPS all the plotting areas, so we can upload all our parks, plot all our areas exactly where we want to spray. This will reduce a lot of chemical waste. The new sprayers also come with drift guards as shown in the picture, so that not only ensure adequate spraying, but it will prevent any drift spraying if it's a windier day, or any overspray that, let's say with a lot of different terrain in the park that can flow or drip, really keeps it in specific areas. And then with the GPS area too, we can also put backup mapping on there, so this can serve as a backup to the golf course sprayer, and vice versa. The golf course sprayer, we can upload the park areas, and they can be interchangeable going forward.
Comments, questions? Yes.
Just one quick question. When it comes to the GPS software and any training for that, how many people are we going to have trained just in case we get somebody trained and then they leave us?
So it'll,
Assuming it's relatively new to your department.
yeah, so it'll be similar to what we did with the golf course sprayer earlier this year, where we trained all the people that work on the golf course, plus backup staff from the parks department, so it'll be the same staff, so that we have that interchangeability.
Yes.
Question, it says that you're going to be looking into, which is great, into the trade-in value of our existing one. It's over 20 year, at least 20 years old, which for me boggles my mind there's going to be any value in it. Wouldn't it be something that we've done beforehand, or is it's a process that works that it's afterwards?
So when we got the old golf course sprayer, it wasn't worth anything towards the trade-in value. They looked at ours. They said they would reassess it. So that's why we kind of put that in there, that we'll look at it. But more than likely, we're not expecting much of any actual credit.
So we don't even auction it off like we do some of our other vehicles.
So if it is not viable for a trade-in, that's the alternate backup plan. It would go to auction.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. All right, good.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm pulling up the attachment again here. I'm just taking a look at the quote, and the quote that we have is for the entire unit, right? With the vehicle
Yes.
and the sprayer combined?
All encompassing, yes.
Do you know, because it looks like a custom job here, is that based on a golf cart frame and engine, or is it something that's built specifically for this job?
Specifically for, it's a little bit bigger than a golf cart, it's a little bit longer and heavier duty, plus the ability to carry a fully loaded water tank. So I would say probably maybe 3 times the carrying capacity of a normal golf cart, if not more.
Okay, does it run on fossil fuels like our existing golf carts now?
It does run on gas. It's not electric, but an updated technology that takes into account the T4 standards, which are a lot more reducing for nitric oxide, and the carbon emitting smoke. It's referred to as commonly. Basically, the black smoke
Okay,
that you
great.
see. Yeah.
Thank you, that was it.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman John Lesh,
Second.
second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Okay, motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 23-1020, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to execute a professional services agreement with Walker Consultants in the amount of $93,470 for a downtown parking study.
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer, Department of Public Works. So there's been a lot that's changed since the last study was done in 2012. Technology is changing. The downtown is certainly changing. We've got buildings that have been vacant that are now full. We've got areas that are that are available for parking now that are looking to redevelop into something new. So there's a lot of different factors that got to the point where we realized we needed the help of a consultant who specializes in this work to help us really figure out where we should be going. A couple items ago, we talked about one lot that we've acquired that is going to be turned into public parking, but we don't want these to be one-off projects that aren't done cohesively. We want to make sure we're planning properly. If we know that there's a lot that we get that we're going to hold on to forever, what kind of lighting improvements are we going to do? Where does it make sense to install the electric vehicle charging stations? How many of those do we need? Where should they go? So all of those things coming together, we decided it was time to, actually this was in the budget for '23. We did go out for a QBS in '23, and by the time we got through working with the consultant to fine tune exactly what the scope of the services were that they were going to provide, what the study area was and all that, we just got through getting that contract finalized just in the last couple of weeks. So we're going to go through the process and hope to get started in early '24. And again, we really felt we needed a QBS for this. This is a niche type of planning that is done. There are people all over the country that submitted to our QBS. We got 6 respondents, and we ended up selecting Walker Consultants. They do a lot of parking studies, parking deck designs, location studies, and all of that. So we think that we're really in good hands in that working with them, reaching out to the public. There's going to be a big public outreach for this, where we're going to be having public meetings. We're going to have questionnaires online. We're going to talk to there's a parking committee. So all of those factors, and really hope that they can get us in a position where we're making wise decisions on how we invest in parking in the downtown in the next 10 years.
Comments, questions?
Oh, I just get to go first. Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my only thing is, when we give them sort of the lay of the land, are we going to tell them where all the existing city buildings are?
Yep.
Should we be contemplating removing some to replace them with parking, as we just discussed in a previous item? Are they looking at where these parking is necessary?
Yes, that's part of the scope, is for them to identify where parking should be and what kind, if there's a specific area that they think should be looked at for a parking garage or things like that. Yes, all of that is part of the information that they're going to have, and they're going to do some of their first things are that sort of fact finding. They're going to be down here. We've got in the contract that we want them to come see what a regular weekday looks like, what a regular weekend looks like. We want them to be down here during some of the larger events. So we've got, I think, 2 large events scheduled. So, looking at the schedules for the Paramount and maybe something else that's going on in Aurora downtown on any given weekend. So we want them to really get a good picture of all of that before they start making any, recommendations. So that would be one of the first things that they do.
And does the project area go all the way out to River Edge Park and encompass the additions that we intend to make there?
Yeah, so we call it the downtown study, but yeah, it is. It's more like if you figure Lake and Wilder down to maybe Lake and Cross, and then that same general footprint going over to Lincoln and heading up. Yeah, we've got the Lincoln lot up there. We've got River Edge parking. So yeah, that whole area. So it's not really just the downtown, but it does encompass a lot of those other generators.
Does it go north of River Edge?
No.
Because I know we have some places that we put cars in.
Yeah, we do have a lot up there that we currently do own, but it's not envisioned to go that far yet. Maybe that would be a good one for the next study 10 years from now, but we don't envision really having to do much that much further north. That's we've still got that for overflow if we have it in our possession for River Edge concerts. That's the only thing we've ever used it for, and even then we're getting by without that now. So we think that would probably be something that would be in an expanded study, again, 10 years down the road or something like that.
So this study want to be include Alton Town, include the businesses?
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to be including the businesses and talk, we want to hear from everybody, but definitely it's looking at all of those different generators and what's planned here, what's planned there, and taking all that into account. And basically starting from step one as if the 2020 or 2012 study didn't exist, where do we want to be moving forward? Yep. And definitely all the restaurants and businesses are driving a lot of that.
Yep, especially the new apartments also.
That too, yeah, a lot more residents in the downtown now, which is
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
Question, what's the anticipated timeframe?
I believe they were thinking hold on, I can pull that up. I think they were thinking it's like 120 days start to finish from when they actually get started, but hold
Okay,
on.
and that's for them, and then what about your review and comments and back and forth? I mean, what's the schedule like where you could come back to INT and give us
Yep, the final report, yep.
the report for any recommendations as well? I mean,
Sure.
do we get an opportunity or the ward alderman and the alderman at large to chime in on it, or what happens?
Well, we can certainly make sure that you're aware of any of the planning studies and planning meetings that are going ahead. It does look like, and I misspoke, they've got 16 weeks start to finish. So if we figure they're getting started shortly after the first of the year, they should be done in the April-ish, May timeframe. And then we would have a draft that we were looking to, the next step of their scope would be to present that at COW. We didn't ask them for any intermediate presentations, but we can certainly, as soon as we get the draft, we can distribute that and get comments prior to them making a public presentation.
Distribute to whom?
We can probably post the draft. I would have to talk to them and see exactly how this process goes for them. They've done this more recently than I have. I wasn't here in 2012 when the first one went, so I don't know how it went here. We can ask them what their recommendations are for when do we put that draft out to get comments on it prior to making a final report. We can certainly talk to them and make sure we're in line with what they normally would do.
yeah, because if they want to wait for an event, so we have Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Parade in end of the May.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point, because we're not going to have too many big
Yeah,
events in
or
that time of the year.
July,
Yeah,
or
that's a
July,
good point.
yeah.
So there could be potential small delays just to accomplish exactly what we have in there to see what it looks like when things are really going down here and, where the parking issues are.
Yeah. Yes,
To sharpen the pencil on that a little bit, does it make sense to extend it a little bit into summer to accommodate?
Sure, it does. That definitely does make sense. And yeah, just thinking, again, we started this process so early this year, we were thinking we were going to have some of the tail end of, River Edge concerts and ACA season to study this fall, but we obviously didn't have that. So yeah, that's a great point. And we would certainly work with them to make sure that we do that.
Because we have Chris Kindle Market now, too.
Hmm?
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when would they start again?
Well, they have it, as soon as this contract is
Approved?
executed and approved by council, then we would probably get started getting them all that background data and start the background data gathering
Do we maintain any data?
in terms of,
Parking for events?
that's
Like
where.
Chris Kindle Market?
Yeah, we would have all that. Yeah,
Park.
I believe ACA has
Fairmont.
numbers on all that.
Okay.
They're certainly tracking how many people are coming to Kindle.
Okay.
So
All right,
we've got
that's
that
good.
data on a
Right.
every weekly basis. They're updating their numbers as to how many people are coming. So we've definitely got that.
Okay.
And they know who's coming to shows and they know who's coming to, the Paramount, and they have all that.
Yeah, one of the hot topics when I came on board city council 10 years ago, how fast time flies, parking was a big issue. Seemed like people came to talk to city council a lot about parking, and it's great that we're doing it 10 years or 13 years down the road, trying to update it. The key is, my question is just making sure we give them everything they need.
And we will, yeah, they've already generated some of those lists, and as soon as they're under contract, I'm sure they'll
Fantastic.
really start asking us for a lot of data.
Fantastic, yeah, because it's not just for the existing restaurants. I would think that if there's another one coming in, there's some developments that still haven't worked out their restaurants yet, like the terminal building, for example.
Sure.
Their restaurant hasn't come to fruition yet on the first floor. And how would parking affect them, plus or minus? We'd love to know benefit them in a plus with this report, for example, I should say.
Right.
Not to be an head wall.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay. No more comments? Okay. Who make the motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion, Ted Misiacos.
Second.
Second, John Lesh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed 5-0. Thank you very much.
Item 23-1022, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to adopt unit prices for the purchase of census water meters.
Good afternoon, Mike Houston, Water and Sewer Maintenance Division. I'm requesting that the city adopt unit prices submitted by Core and Main for the purchase of census water meters and accessories. The Water Meter Maintenance Division is working on replacing older, inaccurate water meters and meters not functioning properly in coordination with the Engineering Division and Water Billing. Core and Main is the sole source provider for census water meters in our region. The quantity of water meters needed during any given year is based on demand from private developments as well as the need to replace worn or non-functioning existing meters. Due to the ability to predict exact quantities for the various size meters, it's recommended that an open purchase order be prepared that establishes unit prices for these meters. The unit prices are based on a quote provided by Core and Main, excuse me, and is valid through January 1st, 2025. So actually brought a resolution through in July for the exact same thing. They were only honoring prices for 6 months. After some discussions with them, we were able to extend the unit prices for a year. So we're making progress on them lengthening, honoring their unit prices. And that's just due to everything else with supply chain issues and the cost of goods. So, but at least we're at least a year out now instead of 6 months. Any questions?
So they want to, when they replace the meters, so it's only if they have an issue with the meter, or it's not too old? How old is 17 years?
So
No?
a combination of both. So in 2013, Aurora began a change-out program, as all of you are aware of. So we are changing old meters that are inaccurate, meters that might be frozen inside the house due to winter conditions. So there's all sorts of variables, but we're using the new Census iPearl meters, and I say new, that was 2013, but we're kind of restarting again in some areas too, because from 2013, there's obviously a lifespan of these. And then we just started a process of we're actually monitoring some of our larger meters as well to record non-revenue water loss. So that's gonna enact some changes of meters too as well. So
Yeah, they're long. I remember they replaced in my house 2010, yes. Well, so when they happen, so they want to be cost for the resident, or they're going to be,
there's no cost to the resident
No?
when we
Okay.
change the meter out. No,
okay.
for
And
new.
the city going and replace it?
Correct.
Somebody?
There's a cost associated for new development though. So if a new building gets put up or.
I want to be clear with that.
Yes,
There's no
yes.
cost to the resident.
Right.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
You covered my question, Madam Chairwoman, thank you.
Okay.
So moved.
Yes. Okay, motion by Jan Lesch. Second, Alderman Tolliver. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and Merry Christmas.
I am. Do I need a motion to
And do the
adjourn?
motion?
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn, and I'm adjourned.
Second.
Second is Lamas, and the motion was made by Ted Misiacos, and we adjourned the meeting at 4:40.
Aye.
4:40.